caller, you are in the room. Welcome back. Thanks for calling back. 1 second, and we'll be able to hear you now. Caller.
Hey, am I on?
Yes. Hello.
Hello.
Oh my God. I've been waiting 3 weeks to actually finally get through, and I'm so excited. Thank you so
Let's
much.
go.
Absolutely. Thank you for calling in and being so patient
Shout
with
out for
us.
the determination. 3 weeks.
Appreciate
Oh, there's
it.
a lot of static. Okay.
Oh no.
No.
Determination.
We said determination. You're clear as day.
Okay. So I just actually wanted to share a story.
Okay.
I used to live in Salisbury, North Carolina, and basically the house that my family and I rented was pretty haunted, actually.
Okay.
So for starters, like during like my younger years, I actually went to live down south from Florida and then moved to North Carolina. And there's this small house that was actually right next to a cemetery. And that cemetery was a veterans hospital also within it. So every Tuesday we would actually see like the whole funeral service. And onto the right of that house, there was an empty church that was only pretty much full on Sundays and Wednesdays. So the first night that we actually went in, we noticed that the room was really, really cold. Now, I know that I had paranormal experiences, especially with my family, but I didn't really realize what they were until I was much older. And the first night, they actually had to get heaters. And mind you, this was like in the dead of August.
Oh.
And so it's August. It's in North Carolina. It's the South. And if anybody's in the South, you know that
It's
the heat
humid.
doesn't play down
Yeah.
there. So first night we had two big heaters, like just blasting. And as soon as our parents closed the door, like because I had a younger sister that basically shared a room, as soon as the door actually closed shut, the heater started rocking by itself. And it was kind of like somebody went behind the heater and started just pulling it back and forth, back and forth. And eventually they just slammed it onto the floor and everything just conked out. And this went on for like weeks until we just said, screw it, don't bring the heaters in. Well, upon like a year into living this place, we started noticing actual spirit activity. So essentially, like, for example, like if we had, like say if I would be in a living room, I would literally see my mom kind of like go inside the kitchen because she has to pass through a door. And I thought I saw her from my peripheral vision, and I went to actually go see her, and turns out she wasn't even in the kitchen. So that was another thing. And then as soon as that happened, I had like a weird paranormal experience where at 3 a.m. I woke up to somebody actually standing at the edge of my sister's bed. And so her bed is actually right next to mine. And this woman basically was dressed up in Civil War era garb. She actually wore the whole like Scarlett O'Hara type of dress. And she was looking out of the window and she had the curls and everything. And at first I thought I was like kind of daydreaming, like maybe I'm just like sleeping, but she didn't disappear when I opened my eyes back up the second time. Turns out when I did the research, what had happened was that house was built on an old Civil War prison.
Okay.
And basically that whole area was dedicated to the veterans of those who passed away in Gettysburg and also the Civil War. And basically we were living in a portal.
Yeah. I'm glad you said it. I know you watched my content because I was just about to say you lived in
Smells like a, sounds like a.
Man, listen. And then it doesn't make it any better. Like you guys probably just had spirits going in and out. Was it one of those old school heaters, like the ones that stood up and get actually hot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really tall, and basically it was just white. It was really tall. It was really sturdy. But as soon as that thing went on, it was almost like they didn't even want it on. And that room was constantly cold. I think the biggest thing that made everybody kind of said, okay, let's pack up and leave is one afternoon, we had my bedroom door closed. I mean, everybody was in a living room, and my parents basically heard somebody in the room, and they shouldn't be because there was only us in the house. And underneath, like if you looked underneath the door, you could see people, like somebody walking back and forth, back and forth. So my dad, being my dad, stormed in, knocked the door open. Nobody was there, but eventually he felt like a breeze. he went to see in the back, and in the back there's a lot of tall trees, and they basically saw a green orb just go underneath one of the trees. Now, I think it was a body.
Wow.
He didn't want to find out, and I don't think he should have actually. But to this day, like, we don't know what exactly was underneath that tree. And I don't even think the house is standing anymore, to be honest, because every time I try to look it up, it's no longer there. Like, I can't really find it.
That's crazy.
They should have knocked it down, but definitely a portal. I mean, Gettysburg. Don't even get me started. But thank you so much for sharing.
Yes.
I truly appreciate it.
Is she supposed to give you any more information?
Okay. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do you know what kind of heater I was talking about?
Which one?
The heater that she said was rocking back and forth. It's literally iron. Only reason why I know.
Oh yeah, I've seen pictures of
older. So the only reason why I know that there's no way that the air or anything. First of all, they were heavy, they were solid, they were iron. I only know about it because my great grandma used to have one in her house.
Why did grandparents have like?
I don't understand. She had a whole goddamn heater. Like, what? Why do you?
This was in California.
Yeah. And so one day I was curious and I touched it and it was hot. It is hot. It burnt my hand. And there's no way.
They used to be like, those used to be the heaters for buildings and stuff too.
Yeah.
Like they used to be attached to. All right, I'm not going to date myself or anything like that.
What, like the Noah's Ark or?
No, like in one of my high schools that I went to, we had heaters like that in the high school. Like they were attached to the wall, and like kids would pull pranks and they would pour their milk.
Oh, so just rotten.
On the heater,
just
so
smells
it's like
awful.
the whole stairwell would smell like.
Well, you got to take in consideration. You went to school on the East Coast, the very, very East Coast. It's cold as hell, and the
Haunted as a mofo.
Yeah, it's the schools are old. It ain't even that you that old. It's the schools,
No,
the buildings,
Yeah.
everything.